The book for this video will be Failing to Succeed by K. Vatheeswaran sir, and it's actually one of my favorite books. And I won't be surprised if you tell me that you have never even heard of this book. One reason would be because it's a very new book. It was first published in 2017 or 2019, I guess. But primarily because this book is about failure, and we are actually far from the point where we would embrace failures. So, this book is about a company which could have been one of the world's biggest company, but unfortunately ended up dying for several reasons. So, how did I bump into this book? So, I was actually looking for books where I could understand, books which reflected the journey of a company at a very microscopic level, where I wanted to know about micro decisions which founders make every day, which impact the company, and which micro events which eventually lead to success or failure of the company. So, ironically enough, Amazon's algorithm suggested me this book. So yeah, and diving right into the book, a slight backdrop of the book, like why Vatheeswaran sir wrote this book. Actually, K. Vatheeswaran sir was one of the founders of the company itself. And when the company dissolved in 2014 and 2016, I guess, all the people who were associated with the company, and a lot of people were associated with the company, they blamed Vatheeswaran sir for his vision to be short-sighted, and he couldn't look beyond and into the future, which could have saved the company. And Vatheeswaran sir very disagrees with this point, and he wanted to tell his story, his perspective, why did the company fail, and so he wrote this book. And I'm actually very thankful to him for writing this book. It's actually one of the best books I've ever read. So yeah. So this book is about a company called India Plaza. It was founded in 1999, and it somehow sailed till 2014. That's when it died. And it was an e-commerce company, India's first e-commerce company. And when I say 1999 and 2014 and e-commerce company, a few things should cross your mind, which would be it went through the dot-com bubble burst of 2002 and 2008 housing crisis as well. So, and we are talking about an internet company. So it's pretty obvious how difficult it would have been for this company to manage the expenses of the company. But still, what happened. This eventually it sailed through the difficult part, but it failed for some very ugly reasons. So it was India's first e-commerce company, and it started off with selling music CDs, and then it's expanded like anything. It also went into the offline retail market as well, which was profitable actually. And a few more points, because I want to tell you that it's one of the most difficult part to be profitable in e-commerce. When you might think Amazon is one of the biggest companies in this world, it is successful in the e-retail. Well, I won't agree with you, because even Amazon is successful not only because of its e-commerce, but various data it had manipulated using that e-commerce data, and because of its strategies using that e-commerce data. Because e-commerce is not a place where you can be successful or profitable, but with proper strategies and all, you can do that actually. And talking about offline retail, that's a segment where even Amazon and Walmart are struggling to manage their online as well as offline retail together. But this is a company, India Plaza was the company which, not exactly I would say very profitable, but they were profitable because of the management. Of course, if everything in this book is true. I would like to reflect a few points why this company was meant to bring the stars, meant to reach the stars and be one of the stars. So it was India's first e-commerce company, of course. There were 6 co-founders. They, like Vatheeswaran sir, worked in Wipro, and 2 others also worked on Wipro, and they quit their job. And then they found other people who had the similar mindset. So in the end, there were 6 founders of the company. And in the end of the company till 2014 I'm talking about, only one person was left for the e-commerce business. It was Latesh Sir himself. So it had the world's first pin-based payment gateway. I mean, they partnered with Citibank and they, formed the ecosystem for online payment. And they say it was world's first. I'm not sure if it's 100% sure, true or not, but I would believe it because the only company which dealt with online money was PayPal by that time. And it was the first company to partner with Blue Dart. Blue Dart hadn't entered into e-commerce business until now, but this was actually Blue Dart's first project, e-commerce delivery although it does only e-commerce right now. Not only e-commerce. So it started off with selling custom music CDs, and custom music CDs, it's not as simple as you think. You go some website, you download a single song. No. The way even Apple figured out with iTunes, Apple figured it out very lately with iTunes to somehow let the users customize one song from the album. What used to happen, the labels used to sell complete albums together, but this company managed to convince Indian labels to sell individual songs. Although the Apple and this company's dynamics cannot be compared because India was it did not have that kind of structured thing for music labels, so it was easy to do in India. And then they switched to books. Apparently books are slightly lucky because Amazon itself started with books. I started my YouTube channel with books. But this company also switched to books, but this company did not survive. Sad. They also did jewelry, and I want to tell you that jewelry is not something which is done online a lot. And then because of the security reasons, but this company somehow managed to partner with the right people and the right people to sell jewelry as well online, which is not successful even today's time. It went to clothing, and I would tell you that clothing is something done very separately today, but this company did clothing as well. It sold customized watches. I don't remember which company gives you the option to customize your watch and then order, but this company did. It sold customized personal computers. It might be available today, but I don't think Amazon is doing it or any other e-retailer is doing that. It had its own e-wallet, and which is actually by that time only PayPal was there for the e-wallet thing. Only PayPal was known for its e-wallet, but this company had its own e-wallet. And this I'm talking about very early in this company. It was let's assume it was somewhere around 2005. And then you can imagine how far-sighted these things are. Of course, if everything written in this book is true. It had its own loyalty program. By loyalty program, I mean Amazon Prime and things like that. So if that's not far-sightedness, I don't know what is. And it also had its offline business, offline retail. That's a segment where, as I mentioned before, that's a segment where even Walmart and Amazon are trying to figure out the right mix of offline and online. But this company did it, and its offline business was fairly successful, and that was the reason where out of 6, only one founder was left to run the online business because offline business was so successful. And they got the chance to exit the company right then and there. It was sold to Aditya Birla Group and renamed to some other name. And they all had their exits and their money in their pocket. But only one person backed the online retail of the company. It was Latesh Sir. And it had cash on delivery as well, which was later taken off because India was not prepared to handle cash on delivery. People used to order refrigerators and washing machines to their friends' houses, and then the company had to deliver and then get it back for no money. So that's why they sort of get got rid of COD. They also tried to switch to app-only platform. They only wanted to operate on the applications, which was a failure, and they had to revert back. They tried grocery business as well, which also was successful. Unlike even today, a lot of startups are working in groceries, and Zomato is working with brokers for the groceries. But it's not an easy business to master, but this company did it. When I say this company did it, they might have not done it, absolutely perfectly, but they were very close, unless the reasons of the financial reasons did not take them down. And of course, it went through 2008 crisis. And all of this was happening in a time where they didn't have any money, any operational income, not income, they didn't have money for the operation and all. Even Vatheeswaran sir did not draw his salary for more than 2 or 3 years at the end of the company. And the reason why it was cash crunch because of the time and duration. It's a lot about right place and right time for this company, because had this company been 10 years late, it would have been a lot successful than it is today, than it was back then. Because today we hear about startups raising millions of dollars at $1 billion valuation. Even I'm talking about 2021, where we have n numbers of unicorns in this year itself. And so it's fairly easy to raise money in this time, that too in a potential company like this. But back then there was no formal institutional investment in this company. They were one of the very ugly players who invested in the company, and then eventually they were the reason who killed the company. This is a lesson for people who want to do their company, and they celebrate the funding of the company. When somebody invests in your company, they are taking a share of your company and the voting rights. And if that crosses more than 50% of the company shares, then all the control belongs to them. And surprisingly, Vatheeswaran sir had 0% in the company, and he was the one who was running the company. So technically, all the decisions made had to be went passed through investors, and they would decide the fate of the company if that decision has to be passed or failed. So these were the kinds of trouble this company had. Money was primarily, I would say, the reason why it failed. And this was pretty much it about the book. And there's a lot of things in this book, and this is one of my favorite books, because I literally had my eyes moist while reading this book, because it's very sad, when you see it from the founder's perspective, when you see it from the Vatheeswaran sir's perspective, like how he was the only person who believed in the company, and how difficult it was for him to move on this company. And I would tell you that at the end, he was offered 1 crore rupees for the company data, like all the customer database. Like data is all these companies are about. So he was offered 1 crore for 1 crore cash. Like nobody would know about that money, and he had to give the data of the customer database to the company whosoever was offering the money. And he declined because it's about ethics. He declined. He said, you need to cut the check in the favor of the company and not me. I can't do this. So it's not about ethics, like how ethical you want to be. He could have easily exited and let the company die. But that's the thing about entrepreneurs, that even today when I build a project, I feel as if this is my kid and I can't just let anything happen to him. So this kind of stuff. So when you are running a company for 15 years and it has your blood and tears and all sweat, and then somebody says just kill the company and quit on the company and just take the money and get away. So it's actually fabulous feeling. And when we talk about today's ecosystem, a lot of people say what today's founders are, startup founders are doing, that they just found the company and they reach a certain valuation, raise money and then find an exit. So it's not that easy to exit the company, to grow a company for so many years and then exit the company. Of course, I haven't done anything like that, but I can also feel that. So this was it about this book. This is actually a superb book, and I would recommend to reading. I would definitely recommend this book to be read, especially if you are trying to be in this field where you want to, get your own company up and running. So one of the core lessons of this book is, how investors manipulate your company. So it's equally important for you to understand that yes, investment is nice, raising money is good. If it also reflects that a lot of people believe in your company, but it takes away a lot of power of the company. So that would be big. Yeah, this was my take. I hope you like the book and the story, and then please do read the book. Thank you.